So with the birth of both the USA and Brazil, I'm wondering if this is going to have an impact on more colonial nations in the New World declaring their independence, because I would think that maybe Washington and Pedro would more than likely want to support that sort of thing. It makes sense, but we'll have to wait to see. Now, it seems only appropriate that we focus in on the USA, and I'm only also focusing in on the USA for now, only because Brazil doesn't really have much to do in South America. They're going to be stepping on some people's toes, whether it be William of the Netherlands attacking La Plata, or going after Napoleon's colonial lands, Colombia, up north. So we'll have to wait and see, but we'll definitely look in at Pedro and his start later on. But let's check in on the USA and see how he's doing. It's been several years. I did fast forward the game briefly because I did want to cut this episode up into another war, and I think that's kind of going to be kind of the theme, I think, of the remaining series. If there's no other wars that are going on, I'll probably let it tick. I'll continue to let some years or months tick by until we have a new war to break out. So anyways, they're making some good money. Washington's making some good money at 15.3 ducats. Not bad. He's got some manpower, and look at his maximum manpower at 38,000. If he stays peaceful for a little bit, he's going to have a lot of manpower, and I would think that most of this manpower comes from this region. I'm not 100%, but I think in the entire continent of North America, I think a lot of the manpower is held within the east coast of like modern day USA. So anyways, let's check in on technology. I believe they adapt or they adopt their overlords' same technological advantages and stuff like that. So they're behind in diplomatic power and strength and technology. That probably explains why they have an advisor here. 762 across the board, not very good military wise. They are in a regency council, but their heir is going to give them 5 in terms of military points per month. That's good, but you're not going to be doing so good in terms of administrative points. They're a constitutional monarchy. Okay, I imagine they probably don't have any loans. Yeah, no loans yet. And I think they also adopt the same idea groups, as well as they take hold of the same ideas as their overlord. I think that is the case. They are following they're Catholic, and it is interesting because I don't think we looked at this. Do we know that England, Louisiana was Protestant? I don't know if we knew that. Let me hold on. Yeah, wait. Yeah, that is interesting because I think knew the English, which is what the USA was formerly. That was when England was still Catholic. It just recently, kind of just recently, changed to Reformed. So I think that's why. I think that is why England, Louisiana is Reformed, right? Yes. Something like that. I don't know. And in terms of force limit, they are above their force limit, which is good. And they are just at their maximum naval force limit. So, yeah, I mean, they've got a pretty good spot, and they do have a lot of different regions they can attack. They can go after Florida. They can go after New Rome. They can go after Celtic Louisiana, but they are at 100% Liberty Desire. So, yeah, Washington's got a lot of things to do here. So as I said, I sped up the game a few years to kind of get us into a few wars. Now, one war that started up is the Third Jihad against the Ethiopians, and this is obviously a war from the Arabians to the Ethiopians. Now, just Assyria has backed them up, and obviously Assyria is not going to be enough when Arabia has called in their allies of Carthage, the Egyptians, the Ottomans, the Persians. Yeah, I mean, there's no alliance that's really going to stop that because these nations are just masterful, I guess, if that's a word, in that region. Then we also have the Germans declaring war on the Netherlands, which is a big one. So let's go ahead and actually dig in deeper there into this middle of this European war. Because this is kind of fascinating. I really enjoy this one. This is a big one. And I was excited about this one. So that's why I kind of skipped over the Egyptian versus the Ethiopian war. Really doesn't mean much. So you can kind of count out the Assyrians and the Zulu. They're probably not going to participate too much in the European affairs. I want to know who's going to win this, though. This is a big one because you're talking about the strongest nations together fighting a war against maybe not as strong of nations, but they're still okay. I feel like Germany has a shot here. And let me just double check on what the war was declared for. It's actually a nationalist war. Interesting. Yeah, so I can't wait to see what happens there. Let's go ahead and zoom in. It hasn't been too long, but right now, as you can see, they are technically losing at -2 war score. We'll have to watch out. Let's see. Let's slow it down to speed. Maybe let's continue on in speed 4. I think we should be fine at speed 4. So they do have a 2-star general. That is the Germans. They have formed a huge regiment of troops with Poland, France, the Germans, obviously, all combining. Oh, they split up, though. Okay, so do you have? It's a nationalist war. Again, not too familiar with the casus belli involved within that war, and I'm not sure exactly what they can possibly take. They don't have any claims, but they don't need technically claims. It would help. I mean, it gives us kind of insight that maybe Bismarck might go after a certain province if they had a claim. But yes, 83. Dang. So again, Sweden is not that powerful. We've talked about this. Sweden is really kind of underwhelming. Poland is going to be fighting two different fronts, but they luckily have Riga in the north to maybe help them against Catherine. I don't think Catherine and the Swedish Empire is going to be held off by just the Riga city-state. But, and then you also worry about Venice and Florence. Venice is also really good, and I really have not given Venice enough credit. They should be given a lot more credit. I'm really proud of the way that Venice has kind of handled this game. They're making a lot of money, and now it looks like they did kind of get shoved back to their territory. As you can see, their regiments are all scattered, but they're reuniting. It's still going to be tough. I mean, you're talking about a huge war against the strongest nations. I wouldn't say Germany is a part of the strongest nations, but anything Poland and France both get involved into is going to be tough for any of the world. And how do they feel towards each other? Okay, so that's right. They still don't like each other, but since they are fighting a current war together, that might help out relations. It could be. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. Let's go ahead and double check on the ledger. We might see more wars break out. As you can see, the Arabians are absolutely dominating the Ethiopians, unfortunately, and this might be the end of Ethiopia. Maybe I've been talking about that, but it could be. It might be. It doesn't really matter. I know you guys are probably going to want to focus on the European war. This is a way more significant war here. This is pretty big. But you know what? I got to give it to William. He's still fighting off these really powerful nations. He's doing an okay job. I mean, he's still trying to unsiege stuff, and this is kind of the lack of a brain that the AI has, where they walk over a province and they grab it, they occupy it for that point, but they're not getting forts. They need to get forts, and I'm sure the AI is having trouble deciding where to defend their territory because you have so many different areas under attack. The Germans have to fight. They have to worry about their northern front, their eastern front, their southern front, as well as they have to just every front, every single direction they've got to kind of worry about here. Big old stack of French units probably going to push back a majority of the Venetians and Florence as well. I think France might gear its sights now towards the south and go after these like Italian nations here, while Germany continues to push forward against William into his territory. Because look at this, look how many Germans they have. Wow, huge stack of Germans. That's amazing. And France is not going down south. Maybe they'll just split up their armies. Here's Venice. Boom, they're going to engage them again. And once again, France is going to win a second battle. Well, probably more than just the second battle, but the second battle that we've seen for now. Now, how's Poland doing? Are they just worrying about their front with Russia? That might be the case. They've got 27,000 men here, but the Swedish and the Russian armies are coming in now fast. This could really give some problems to the German, Polish, and French alliance here, because you've got the Eastern nations now uniting under kind of one power here. Sweden and Russia joining together. Now, Poland's doing okay, though. They've got 63 regiments. I mean, okay, well, never mind. Maybe not. Now they're starting to push them back even further. They're going to have to unite. Catherine and Sweden are going to have to unite their forces if they're going to want to take on this huge force that Poland has. Poland's not even worried about this front, as well as keep in mind Byzantium still under complete siege, mainland Byzantium. Insane there. What's going on here? Still another, jeez, oh my gosh, William just has no chance. Unfortunately, Venice just didn't, I don't know. Venice didn't do enough. Venice and Florence. If William loses a lot here, you gotta kind of blame Venice and Florence. I mean, you can't really blame Sweden and Russia because they're just worried about Poland. Poland's a force in and of itself to have to kind of reconcile with. But William and Venice and Florence, they really needed to combine troops and just take on France and Germany united. Germany's not that strong. Maybe that's just my opinion. I do know that they control some pretty strong provinces, I will say that. But if William wanted to survive, he really needed a lot of help from Venice and Florence. And who knows, maybe in the beginning of the war, France pushed their regiments back and they never were really able to unite. I'm sure a lot of these people are also losing a lot of manpower, which is going to be interesting. Man, but I will say, William still has pretty big troops. Well, Venice is kind of starting to help them out briefly here, very briefly. Poland, they probably don't need you over here in this front, but okay. You actually might be in trouble if you leave. No, I guess you still have a 22 stack, but that's not going to fight back Catherine's stacks. Man, this is a big one. I'm sure that the Ethiopian war is over. Let's go ahead and check. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, I'm surprised. Any other wars that have broken out? No, not yet. I do kind of believe that there's going to be a huge loss of manpower here. It doesn't even matter from both sides. I think it could be from both sides, although France is like almost an unlimited amount of manpower, so maybe not. But this could also affect the New World. Seeing these colonies, especially someone like William, be at war right now, it could affect some of his colonies. Something like La Plata may be able to maybe declare an independence war soon. I would hope that, those nations really need someone to support those independences, though. They can't do it on their own. They need someone from Europe, like Brazil and the USA both did. I don't know, but I think that we could see maybe a loss of colonies in the New World, if that's the case. What's going on? So France is just sitting here. They're doing the right thing. They're going after forts, which is smart. Germany is still going after Florentine regiments. And Russia's coming. Russia is coming, and they're probably going to get there in time. Oh, no, they're not going to get there in time, but it doesn't matter. They're going to wipe these Germans away. 35 stack of both Russian and Florentines. I believe that is it. 2-star general, and he's coming in there for France. Ooh, look at that. French and Russian regiments already, 1721, fighting against each other. Now, this is really pretty fun stuff. Okay, so it looks like France won that, and Russia's now retreating down south towards, I'm thinking, Venetian territory, something like that. Maybe possibly Venetian territory. Okay, so there's the other war that broke out. It's Austria going after Venice. So that's what's going to happen. Austria's at -16 war score. You can pretty much count out Venice, though, from helping out William too much, I believe. That will be the case. Also, we have a Roman war against Venice. Okay, so now that's who people decided to go to war against. Let's see exactly. Let's look at the screen here. Dang. Wow, that's a big one. Did anyone sever peace? Oh, Riga is out of the war. Oh, they just ended the war. They just ended the war. Wait a second. So France is no longer backing up their buddies. Give me a second here. Boom. So it's just Germany. Whoa. Wait a second. It's just Germany versus still Sweden, Russia, Venice, and the Netherlands. Why did Poland and both France peace out? I mean, they don't really, I don't know. I mean, maybe they can still handle it. Do they have the war score? Technically, another war broke out. Greece and Venice. Okay, so maybe we see the fall of Venice. Maybe the Ottomans will join in too, if they don't have a truce. Ooh, Germany's not doing good. Oh, they probably forced them to peace out. Maybe it was just a numbers game. Maybe the forces of the Netherlands alliance just had too much on them. So Germany actually might lose provinces here. So we have Greece, Austria, as well as the Ottomans. Okay, so the Ottomans did declare war, so they could also gain some provinces. Austria reconquest of Tyrol. And then we have Rome from the south of the Italian peninsula going after Venice. At least Venice constantly had Spain's help, which is nice. That's pretty nice of them, as well as Florence's help. Don't forget Florence. Cannot forget Florence. I think that Venice still might be okay. I think it's possible that they'll be okay. What's going on? Yep, and there goes Ethiopia. That's the end of Ethiopia. And actually looks like Arabia is still... I don't think it doesn't look like Egypt took anything. It was all Arabia taking every single piece. I figured maybe Ramses would jump in on that deal, but I guess not. All right, so there's a nice little border right here. Somewhat clean, somewhat. I don't mind it. It's getting cleaner and cleaner. I guess I enjoy that. I do like the Madagascar borders, though, for some reason. I understand it's not going to be super perfect or clean or anything like that, but it is interesting to see... it's not like the British Isles. This stuff could be definitely cleaned up. I can't believe Canada has not gotten their independence yet. That is pretty insane. Let's go ahead and review again on the wars that are going on. So actually, everyone that declared war on Venice is losing. I imagine that maybe they weren't expecting, maybe this huge wars that kind of popped up, they weren't expecting both Spain and Florence to join in on Venice's side. Maybe, but although I'm pretty sure the AI is able to recognize that, I think that they should have been able to realize, oh, wait a second, their allies are going to join. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Venice gets even more provinces. I mean, I know they actually don't have any claims on anybody. I figured they would, but yeah, no, they don't. Hey, Germany's actually doing an okay job. I don't know where the heck William's regiments are at. I don't know where... They might not have military access. These big nations like Sweden and Russia might not have military access, and maybe The Netherlands do control the southern part of the Baltic Sea. Oh, there's a huge naval battle going on right here. We just like walked into a gold mine now. What was he thinking exactly going in after this? Maybe they didn't mean to get caught. Maybe the German fleet didn't mean to get caught, but wow, yep, there goes all of Germany's ships. They're all gone, which means that, yes, technically Sweden can move throughout these provinces and attack northern Germany, technically. But he needs to siege out this stuff fast and get out of here. I know he wants positive war score, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe he should just peace out and let it go. Did more people join in? No, this is still the same. I'm like looking at this like this looks like more people have joined in. I don't know. We've been focusing in on these wars. Whoa, huge battle going on here. 45 stack of Romans versus Venice and Florence's regiments. And it actually looks like Rome is going to win. They had the Florence did have a crossing penalty on them. That is unfortunate, but it's still somewhat. I mean, yeah, I know it wasn't like a decisive victory, so it still is okay for both forces. I imagine that Venice has got to be losing a lot of manpower. You know, one of these nations like Greece or Austria could get really lucky because maybe Venice is just going to engage Rome and focus in on their Roman front, and then that means that they're going to leave their eastern side way too wide open. Byzantium has gotten rid of the rebel occupation. Oh, but they're still around. It's just the occupation has been gone. I have to believe that the Ottomans are going to take a lot from Venice, even though they didn't declare the war. I would assume that they would take a lot. Ooh, you know what? Arabia even stole some things away from Assyria. Dang, that's pretty ballsy there, Arabia. I like it. Pretty ballsy. William's doing a great job colonizing here. The islands are just starting to get completely ravaged. Oh, who is this? The Zulu have grabbed Western Australia. Oh, that's pretty cool. This is kind of the part that I'm most interested in. Sweden looks like they might have a chance. It's a race right here. It's a race for all this good stuff. 15 base tax. Dang. 15 base tax. Is that one of the biggest base taxes in the game? I believe it's actually supposed to be here. Constantinople should be the biggest base tax. But I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows? It's 1723. We are now definitely less than 100 turns away from the end of this campaign, and I have to say I am so happy with the way this has been going. I have been honestly really, really happy with how exciting this has been. Let's go ahead and double check on the ledger. Okay, so Germany has peaced out, and it looks like they actually didn't lose anything, so they got lucky. Or did they? Did they lose something? No, okay, they didn't lose anything, but did they lose alliances? They lost Riga, but for some reason, a lot of people lost Riga. They're still allied to Poland, so I guess that's all that matters. Is Poland still allied to Persia? See, that's not even fair. That right there is really not even fair. They're allied to Poland, Riga, the Swedish, and Persia. Now, that's pretty insane. Persia's doing good, but man, that border war is just, oh my gosh. The worst, the absolute worst. But it's still a race. I mean, I was surprised. I thought Byzantium was going to cut off Persia, or the other way around. But no, they both have kind of reached out, and no one's been cut off, except for Assyria, obviously, and the Zulu, somewhat. They could always just probably wrap themselves around this part of the continent, this region here. And yeah, Arabia's going for the full colonization. Arabia's going hard now. I wouldn't be surprised if the relationship between Egypt and Arabia... Oh, it did already break down. When did they declare that rivalry? That must be pretty recent. I thought that Egypt helped Arabia out in the war, but maybe I'm smoking crack. I don't know 100% on that. Are there still 3 wars against Venice? Yes, there are. Rome is really not doing good. Greece, surprisingly enough, is doing really well. And as I thought, I mean, Venice was focusing too heavily on their front against Rome. And that's come to kind of backstab them. Although they do have 40 regiments here now. How the heck did Greece get up 25,000 troops? Oh, but Venice has still a lot. I mean, you've got the Venetians. And, oh, this is also Florence here. That's mainly Florence. And then you have... oh, this is Persia. I didn't know Persia was at war with Venice. Did we know that? Yeah, who did they join? I don't know whose side they joined in on. Was it Greece? Yeah, it was Greece. I didn't even realize. The Russians and the Persians. Wow. Okay, so once again, more European nations are allying themselves with these Islamic nations, or I guess Islamic nations, and I find that really interesting. I like that storyline. Anyways, guys, I'm going to have to stop right there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.